So Cyberninjas, the company that conducted the ridiculous vote audit in Arizona, has followed Trump down his typical path. They've gone broke. Let's talk about it in today's video. Hi, I'm Mike Greiner. I'm a lifelong Democratic activist who's concerned about the direction our country is taking. If you share my concerns, maybe you could like this video, subscribe to this channel, maybe even click that little bell that will notify you when I post something new. So, of course, we know about Cyberninjas conducting the vote audit in Arizona. The audit reviewed 2.1 million votes cast in Arizona's largest county, netting Cyberninjas $5.6 million. Arguably, the audit was completely illegal, since the state had already conducted a number of recounts, and the officials who were actually tasked with running the election said that such an audit was unnecessary. So who went forward with conducting the audit? That was the state Senate, using funds from outside sources to help fund it, something that Arizona state law is clear is illegal. Now, I remember as an outside observer of this audit thinking to myself, oh boy, it's really going to be a mess when they come back and find that, oh, Donald Trump really won the election. But surprise, surprise, they came back with their review, and guess what happened? It turned out that Joe Biden had won the election by an even bigger margin than we originally thought. This must have really stung the CEO of the company, Doug Logan, who's been an active participant spreading the big lie that Donald Trump actually won the election and that there's been wholesale voter fraud, especially where voting machines have been used, such as in this county. In a demonstration of just how completely motivated the reasoning is among Republicans, I can tell you that when I produced a video earlier on about the results of this audit, I actually received comments from people saying that it proves that Trump had won the state, when actually the audit said the exact opposite. I mean, I don't know where these people come up with their information. Arguably, the key takeaway for Republicans in the Cyberninjas review was their report, which included 75 recommendations and concerns raised about potential cases of fraud or mistaken counting. Well, last Thursday, the 5-member Maricopa County Board of Supervisors, 4 of whom are Republicans, by the way, went in detail through every single one of these allegations. In a 4-hour live-streamed rebuttal, they presented evidence that every single one of these allegations, every single one, was incorrect and baseless, and in many cases, was the exact opposite of the truth. They only found one allegation in which there was any issue, which involved 50 votes. Those 50 votes may have been double counted, but the issue has been referred to the Attorney General for review. Nevertheless, even if there was a mistake with respect to these 50 votes, they would have not had any impact on any of the results in any of the elections in Arizona. Now, of course, central to American government is the idea of the Freedom of Information Act, which requires that any public activities be transparent, and that if people request public documents, they can have access to them. Well, given the fact that this audit was at least in part funded by public funds, any records would have to be turned over to those requesting them. Well, when the Arizona Republic, the state's largest newspaper, requested to see some documents regarding the audit, Cyberninjas refused to turn over the documents, prompting a judge to issue an order that they turn them over and a $50,000 a day fine until they did so. So by the end of the week, what do we hear? Oh, suddenly Cyberninjas has shut down and it's laid off all its employees, including its conspiracy theory-fueled CEO, Doug Logan. Now, the judge was suspicious of this, thinking that this may be a case of Cyberninjas trying to cover over its own wrongdoing and to allow those involved in it to walk away with their portion of the $5.6 million that they got as a result of this audit. As the judge, John Hanna, said, this shutdown might be designed, quote, to leave the Cyberninjas entity as an empty piñata for all of us to swing at. In other words, by shutting down the company, Logan and his employees have basically been able to walk away without being subject to the scrutiny that the Arizona Republic and others want to bring to this ridiculous audit. Now, the sad truth of it, as was actually demonstrated by the response to my prior video about the Arizona audit, is the fact that it doesn't matter to Republicans. Republicans are seized by a high level of confirmation bias, which means that any facts that disagree with the conclusion they want to draw, they just ignore. Thus, the information that this audit conducted by a Republican under the auspices of a Republican Senate trying to find some basis to find that Donald Trump had actually won the state rather than Joe Biden, as has been found repeatedly by recounts and by courts that have looked at the facts here, and by the audit for that matter. The MAGA crowd just don't care what the facts are, unfortunately. They basically start with their conclusion and then try to find facts that will support that conclusion. Again, that's called confirmation bias, which is probably the best explanation for what we have that's going on in MAGA world. Nevertheless, my hope is that the failure of Cyberninjas is finally going to be a fact that they cannot ignore, and to show just what a complete joke the MAGA crowd has become in their efforts to try to discredit the results of an election that really were won by Joe Biden by a very wide margin. Well, if you agree with me or disagree with me, I'd love to see your comments down below. And if you want to see my other video about the Arizona audit, check it out here. And if you could like this video and subscribe to this channel, that'd be a huge help. I'll see you in the next video. In the meantime, let's hope for continued progress. Thank you.